Mississippi Delta, still crying the same tears. From Emmett to Nolan, how many more years? Copper blood in these waters, Most High see us here. Peace be still, but the truth gonna appear. Emmett Till, young boy whistling in the store. White lies turned to lynch and dragged him from the door. Beaten, shot river, swallowed him whole. Open casket, mama showed the world his soul. Nolan Wills, 18, boat ride on the 4th. Only black in the circle, now they say he drowned for. Horn Island whispers, friends came back without him. Mississippi history, still hunting, still doubting. Same state, same pain, different name. Black boy lost in the Delta rain. When will it change? Lord, when will it change? Ancestors screaming, we never left this stage. 1955, Chicago boy down south for the summer breeze. Money, Mississippi, wrong place for a black team to breathe. Brian stole maybe a whistle, maybe just a smile. Jim Crow code broken, now they coming in the night. Wild Roy and Malone snatched him from his uncle's floor. Tortured that baby, fanti round, body in the Tallahatchie roar. Mutilated face, mama said let the world see. Acquitted by all white jury, not guilty, set him free. Sparked the movement, Montgomery rose from the flames. But the Delta dirt still holding black boys' names. Emmett was 14, just a child in his prime, lynched for existing in a twisted mind. Emmett Till, Nolan Wells, Delta shadows ringing bells. Black life cheap in these haunted lands. Most High coming with justice in his hands. 2026 July 4th, independence gone wrong. Broke the Horn Island with the crew, singing freedom songs. 18 years young, big heart, only copper in the mix. Friends white as the judge that let killers walking. 55 disappeared that day, body found on the shore 2 nights later. They say drowning, no foul play, but the family know better. Questions swimming deeper than the Gulf water's cold. Why leave your phone? Why the silence from the foe? Mississippi again, history echoing loud. Been crunk, calling for truth, independent, autopsy proud. Was it accident or the past rising from the mud? Black boy with white friends, trust issues in our blood.
Why the same soil claim my sons? Ancestor never left, we still the chosen one.
From Till's open casket to Nolan's unanswered call. In time signs, Leviathan rising, watch the fall. No hate, just black love, we hold each other tight. But stop crashing out on each other and demand what's right.
Peace be still,
Through the storm we prevail,
Father's child.
we shall not fail. Both in Mississippi, Delta's cruel embrace. One lynched open, one body lost without a trace. Emmett's killers brag after the verdict came. Nolan's story fog in speculation and shame. 14 or 18, young kings taken too soon. Waters claim the bodies, but the spirit touched the moon. Same fear, same doubt, same racist undercurrent flow. But we wiser now, cameras, voices won't let go. Indigenous copper, mountain builder stand tall. We walk together, ancestors answer the call. No more silent nights, no more cover graves. Justice for Emmett, justice for Nolan. Raise the blade. Tell now, but our spirit never failed. We got black love, revolution now. Most High know my heart, make it right somehow.
Peace be still,
Peace be still. From Till to West, the story's still real. Let the world see, let the truth be free. Let the world see, let the world see. Let the truth be free.
All right. Hello, Grand Rising, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake up call. So, as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. So, let's see who's in here. Hello, Terry Hinton. Love Christy. Diane is here. AJ Matthews. Jerron. All right, let's get into it. Tame Lamb is here. The lovely T. Chosen One. We the people. 504 Nola. Pearly. Likes up, everyone. Please hit the like button. Thank you in advance. I see you, Betty Boop. Sheila Askins is here. G from the land. All right, let's get it popping. Deronda, I see you, beloved. All right, Aqua Girl Rising. Mel is here. All right, real eyes recognize real lies. Greta is here. Desmond, okay. Shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Tamika is here. Okay, let's get into it. Daughter of Zion. Okay, so everybody hit that like button. Thank you in advance. Don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the Queen's channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. Okay, Marcia Powell, I see you, beloved. A1 Freedom from Fear. All right, so Nisa says, Grand Rising Queen, please inform me where I can get your intro music. I can't find it. All right, beloved. Well, um thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, with that all being said, you can find the music on I believe it's on all streaming platforms because now mind you, the music I've been playing lately is by Truth Brown. Okay, these are not my songs. These are songs by Truth Brown, and she has put them on streaming platforms, and I think if I'm not mistaken that you can find them on all of them. Okay, on any of them. Her name is Truth Brown, and she's usually in the chat. If she's not here now, she'll be here later. Okay, so thank you for asking, beloved. Now, with that all being said, let's get ready to get black into it. Let's get ready to get black into it. All right, Bronze Slap Heart God, did I say hello to you? Okay, so that crazy beach Aries is in the virtual building. All right, so listen, before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
You can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. And you can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil as well. Okay. Now, with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Let's get ready to get into it because now it looks like Katie was possibly a red herring, and everyone is now, well, not everyone, but some people have now turned their attention to Laney Naquin. Okay, and we're going to get into that and also why these young men were lying from the get-go. Okay, and don't blame me. That's not me saying it. That's literally what's in the reports. And when you compare the reports, the things that are written in the reports to things that they said after, okay, and I mean days after, and things that they said in Rage Batum, Tap Dancing Tatum's, in his scripted interviews. Okay, in my opinion, they're absolutely productions, not real interviews. But nonetheless, yes, they have not been, they've been saying different things, been inconsistent, and quite frankly, to put it lightly, fabricating for the entirety of the time. Now, that's my opinion. Okay, so views, opinions, allegations, and accusations expressed by guests, third parties, or commenters are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show or any of my affiliate YouTube channels or social media platforms or accounts. Content is presented for commentary, discussion, reporting, and educational purposes. Discussion of an allegation does not mean the allegation is true or endorsed by this channel. All persons are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. All right, so let's just get into it. First of all, I was thinking about this new attorney that they hired. Well, he's not new now, but nonetheless, Ahmad Smith. Okay, I was thinking about Ahmad Smith, and you know how the other attorneys that don't look like him, how they supposedly left. Okay, how they supposedly just packed up their briefcases and closed out their offices and left after this man was hired. Now, mind you, I don't know if they left simply because he was hired, if there was some sort of discrepancy, if they were just let go. I don't know. But what I do know is that they reported, okay, on several publications that quite frankly, after Ahmad Smith showed up, they were ghosts. All right. So let's talk about Ahmad for just a second. Because here's the thing that I find interesting about him, and I have to ask myself, maybe they did leave when he showed up because as soon as he got there, it seems like he went straight to work. Now, I don't know what they were doing. Um, I'm not going to try to discredit them, but at the end of the day, maybe they weren't doing that much because we didn't even hear about them. We thought it was just Ben Crump until, weeks later down the pike, we heard about them. But when Ahmad Smith came along, we instantly heard about him, and probably because of the things he started doing immediately as soon as he was on the case. Okay, Ahmad Smith, a Jackson, Mississippi criminal defense attorney, has joined Nolan Wells' family's legal team as Mississippi counsel, working alongside Ben Crump and the NAACP Office of Legal Counsel. Okay, now, this was reported August the 25th, even though we already knew before then, but I'm just saying they reported this on yesterday. And they say, although Smith says he actually joined the team about 3 weeks earlier, okay, they reported yesterday. So, anyway, here's the thing. More importantly, is the fact that Smith, as soon as he got on board, he's already issued subpoenas and evidence preservation letters instructing people connected with the case not to destroy potentially relevant documents, materials, or evidence. Okay, he also says he is personally following up with people who have contacted the family with tips and information. Now, Smith explained the advantage of having someone local as having an attorney from the soil who represents the Mississippi terrain and people. He says this is an advantage for them. This makes this more than simply adding another name to the legal team. It confirms that the family's Mississippi side evidence gathering operation is active. Subpoenas, preservation demands, witness and tips, follow-ups are underway, and this is all while the official investigation remains pending. Now, here's the thing. The reason I think that may have been why they left, I don't know, but they had been with the Wansleys all this time before this man came along 3 weeks ago and had not done any of the things that he's done already. I find that interesting. Now, I have to wonder, were they, working in concert, tandem, unison, possibly with some of the other folk down there in Ocean Springs? Now, mind you, I'm not saying that they are. I'm not making an accusation. I'm simply asking questions. Because now that they have left, who knows what they could say to other people. Now, of course, attorney-client privilege is supposed to be kept secret, but with all the shady things going on in Ocean Springs and Mississippi in general, I don't put anything past any of them. Now, with that being said, and that goes for the people who don't look like me down there, and the ones who do look like me, but have the mindset of rage, Baitum, tap dancing Tatum. Okay, because we know you can't trust those types. So I'm just wondering if that was anything to do with why they left and why had they not done any of these things? Why was it only after Ahmad Smith got there that the ball got to rolling and papers started being shuffled and things started moving? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. But anywho, with that all being said, let's continue. Let's continue because more discrepancies have come about, and there's also a whole lot of distractions. So before we get into it, let's talk about some of these distractions, okay? Because I told you all days ago that I think we really need to be focusing on what we can prove, what we can verify, and things like that. And of course, we're going to speculate. I mean, you can't help but speculate when we don't have all the information. But the bottom line is, some of these things are just being put out here to make us look crazy, and sometimes we've fallen for it. Okay, and then they have this personal drama and character debates, arguments over who liked whom, friendships, dating rumors, social media behavior, or whether someone appeared emotional enough. Well, that's very obvious. The fact that they didn't have any emotions, but then all of a sudden they go to Horn Island and take a wreath and candles. Now, to me, that was nothing more than a distraction and them trying to recreate the narrative that they already had created. You see, it wasn't our fault that people came out saying that Warren specifically didn't show any emotion, didn't seem like he was hurt or grieving or anything. That was his own fault because that's absolutely the way he acted on more than one occasion. And then to all of a sudden return to Horn Island after you've already gone there with Rage Bait and Tatum, and now you want to put up a wreath and stuff, all BS and clearly a distraction, okay? As well as the letter threatening to sue Al Sharpton, okay? That's nothing more than a distraction, in my opinion, to try to ward off anyone else who's talking trash or whatever, hoping that that will intimidate the rest of us to fall back. But as you can see, it has not worked, okay? And then, what else have they had going on? Okay, fights involving attorneys, commentators, activists, or media personalities. Some of these media personalities literally have turned the story into just I don't know, and just into something crazy. Like at some points, it doesn't even make sense anymore. Okay, and I think that these things are being done on purpose. Now, we also have talked about the conflicting interview statements becoming entertainment for some people. Um, but anyway, let's get into it because we need to focus on the evidence versus the noise, just in my opinion. Okay, and so that being said, let's go to this screenshot that I took where it clearly looks like there's blood on the boat. Now, mind you, we noticed something before in another picture that looked like blood on the boat as well. You all remember me showing you all that. See that right there? And it's kind of dripping down. It's like a spot right here, and it kind of drips down. Okay, let me go to a perhaps a better screenshot. Like, sub, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. This isn't actually too much better, but it's a little bit bigger. Now, I'm sure you all can see that. Now, what is that? A red spot just sitting there for all to see? I have several questions, but I'm not going to bank on it because y'all already thought that the item, notice I said y'all already thought that the item that was on the boat that was supposed to keep the rope from sinking, I think that's what somebody said in the comments that it was. Yeah. Notice how we were saying that we thought that was a hand or foot. Okay. Please pay attention. And so now let's go to this clip from Jay Megan, who's being run off of TikTok. Clearly, she keeps getting these community guideline strikes. I keep getting the same things. I just realized this morning that I had a community guideline strike on TikTok from yesterday for the video I did about Nolan. It's like they give me every other day. Like, can they just let the queen live? Then I have to battle them for the appeal and then get it put back up. Okay, so here is Jay Megan, and she seems to have found out who these young ladies were who were in fact on the boat with Katie. Here we go.
Shout out to the real Jada J that turned me on to this picture. And as y'all can see, we've got a match with the necklace and the swimsuit. Think I busted out my glasses and red lipstick just for the swimsuit? Nah. Now, as I talked about yesterday, we've all suspected that this is Kendall for a while now. The identity of this curly-haired girl has always eluded us. Well, not anymore, folks. For now, I'm going to just refer to these girls as T and L. As you can see, L clearly has the same kind of hair texture that's in the bottom of this picture. We know that these two were together on 4th of July, and T did not one, but two Nolan tributes after his body was found. Now, another one of their friends had a reel, which they did a little panning video on the best 4th of July ever. And who was in that video? Well, that looks to me to be Jacob, Kendall's longtime boyfriend. So it seems confirmation to me that both Kendall and her boyfriend were on this boat the entire day. Now that I have found this group of friends, I was scouring the pictures and I found this. We've got Elle with somebody I immediately recognized because I remembered that swimsuit, and they tried to hide this picture in a document dump so you didn't know what day it was. Well, if it isn't Nevaeh.
Oh, she back! She back!
Same swimsuit, same belly ring, and there she is, clearly earlier in the day with Kendall, clearly on the same boat. And just in case you didn't see my video on the Tube of You yesterday, or just need a reminder, here was the friend group breakdown that I had. But to me, this seemingly clearly confirms that these two were on this boat probably all day. I say this because there's another picture from the summer with Nevaeh with the little pink cup right here. You can see the pink cup in the lap of Kendall up here, along with the matching, poles, and this, all of it matches. Now, I want to go back to this picture because in the background there, we see somebody seemingly approaching the group to join them to go out in red shorts. And y'all know that I've been saying for a while that in my humble opinion, I believe that the person in red shorts is Warren's brother. But now I also think there's a strong possibility that it could be Laney's boyfriend, Drew. Just as further confirmation, these glasses match the glasses that are in the Katie Snapchat. I think it's pretty safe to say that we definitely found the people that were on the boat with Katie. Now here's where it gets a little interesting to me though. Look at how late in the day this picture seems to be taken. And they clearly were still out at night. So did they drop everybody else off? Did they come back out? Got a lot of unknowns here, but I did my social media scour. And let me explain to you what I found. So we've got L and T on the boat with Kendall and Nevaeh, like we've confirmed that. We also know at some point Katie was on the boat with them as well. T was the only one that seemed to be connected to Nolan on social media. Now, remember how the person who released the Snapchat pictures of Katie said that they were not friends with her? Well, I found that T was actually connected to a lot of people social media wise, whether they were following her or she was following them. I was able to find Javon. I was able to find Ava D, the girl from the party. I was able to find the entire Hudson family, as well as Katie, Laney, Trin, Ava, all of the other friend group, the core group that I talked about yesterday. And I found out that L was either following or was followed by Ava, Jax, and Bart. Now here's the real kicker. When I went to T's Book of Face page, I found out that she was FB friends with not only Warren's mom, but Bart's mom as well, and several other adults that are close friends with that mom group. And I also found out that Laney and Nevaeh are both friends with the older McGrath brother, but it seems like he was in Texas at the time, so most likely he was not on the boat or around for this. However, he does have a younger brother who is friends with T on social media. And that makes me wonder if the younger McGrath brother might have been on that boat. Now remember, Laney said that she was not on Horn Island. She was with a different group of friends on a different island altogether. But now I'm wondering if this boat, this group, might have been the other group that they got into the altercation with. Because remember, they specifically said that they knew the guy, like knew of him, but they weren't like friends with him. Because does nobody else think it's weird that whoever else they were fighting on the beach hasn't come forward? Especially if they were people that didn't really know these people? But could this boat have been the fourth boat that we've seen? Because if this is the same red shorts guy, then how did he get onto the other boat?
The Red Bull Dragonberry Energizer.
Okay, so it looks like those are the people that she was looking for days ago. But here's my question. I was wondering the same thing. How come they never specifically said the name of the people that were all getting into it? That's interesting. But so now they're saying that Laney, now if you all remember, Laney was mentioned in the report. Let me pull that up. But so now they're saying that Laney and Nolan may have had something going on and she had a boyfriend and all of this. Now, I don't know if that's true, but if that is true, then it might be safe to assume that maybe Laney said that she wasn't on the island and hadn't seen Nolan in 12 whole months just because she has a boyfriend. Now, I don't know if that's the case. I'm just saying. Let me just pull this up. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Because my question also is, why did they lie from the start? Okay, if you all remember, in one part they said it was an unknown woman, and then they later, in another part, said it was Laney. Okay, here it is right here. Officer J, this was July the 5th, 2026. Okay, Officer J. Strickland reported to the residents of Laney Naquin, okay, Pascagoula, Mississippi, who was initially reported to be on Horn Island with a group of people associated with Nolan Wells. Now, if she was not on Horn Island with those people associated with Nolan, why would anybody have just said that? Why would they have just randomly picked her name to insert in this report? Okay, that really doesn't make any sense to me if she had not been there. When interviewed, Naquin stated that she had already spoken with Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators and stated that she was not on Horn Island, but in fact was on Petit Bois Island with a different group of friends. Naquin stated that she knew Wells but had not seen or spoken with him for over a year. Now, do you all believe that? Because I don't. Do you all believe that? Because I don't. Now, I know that there are liars who lie because they have been lying, but I don't see why they would have just put her name in there knowing the police are likely going to go talk to her. Okay. What do you all think? Hold on. Let me look at some of these comments. I think that possibly, okay, Terry Hinton said, not the red lipstick. Okay. Hold on. They all were there. Okay. I believe it. Miss Christine should sue the coroner or at least inquire why they allowed Nolan's body to be transported face down without his throat and lungs. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because they would blame that. They wouldn't blame that on the coroners about his body being transported face down. They would blame that on the transporters. And not to mention, do they even have proof that that was the case? We just had those two women come out and do that video, and they said that someone told them. That's hearsay. So I don't even know if they could prove that, beloved. But a good question nonetheless. Okay, none of them can be trusted. Absolutely. Okay, Jerron said they stay on code. That's facts. Okay, Laney is another smoke screen shaking my head. And I was thinking that too because I'm like, first of all, there's too many red herrings that's been thrown out here and too many distractions. So, you just don't know. But here's the thing. Okay, let's just say if that was Laney and she was there with them and she does have a boyfriend and she was with Nolan, are they trying to make it seem as though maybe her boyfriend did something to Nolan? Because here's what I think. I think that no matter who was on what boat, I think that if someone actually did something to Nolan, and I think that they absolutely did, I believe that it was somebody close to him, not some random person or people. And I saw a black guy on TikTok yesterday, last night, in fact, and he was saying, why are y'all so dead set on it being one of his friends? Why are y'all so gung-ho that it had to be one of his friends that did it? Well, here's the reason. Nobody knows if they did it or not, but the reason people suspect them and are looking at them with a whole side eye is because of everything that they have been doing. Does he not see that? Now, if they had not been caught in numerous discrepancies, had not been caught in lies, had not changed their story, had not shown a lack of emotion, and then trying to go back and fix the things that we pointed out that they did or didn't do, then maybe we wouldn't be saying all of this. Maybe we would have thought something suspicious possibly in the beginning, just because we know that Black people tend to just come up dead accidentally or self-deleted as strange fruit in Mississippi specifically. So maybe it would have just faded from there had they not immediately cut off social media, okay, lawyered up, didn't reach out to Mrs. Christine and the family to offer condolences, didn't come to the funeral, started talking about their mom calling her a liar. Just the things, and Jack, speaking of Nolan, in past tense. Now, mind you, this was before Nolan's body was even found. Okay, this was before his body was found. Nolan was like a brother to me. Why are you talking about him in past tense? So there's the reasons right there. I mean, there's many more, but those are just a few, in my opinion. Okay, so anyway, said she had not spoken to him in over a year. Okay, now, hold on. Someone else reported about Laney as well. Let me pull this up. Like stuff, everyone, please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Here we go.
Y'all are really, you're hearing and listening is because you're not listening to what I'm posting. You said about Laney was when Trayson and Warren were talking about, they made a slick comment about a girl that he was with. I always said it could not have been Katie because it had to be somebody else because they were stretching and kept focusing on that point. Then when you look at the MDMR, Warren and them mentioned Laney being a part of, or the last person that Nolan was seen with. They said that, not me. They said that. And I said, how could it have been Laney? Because per Laney, she told them that she has not been there since over a year or spoken to Nolan over a year. I never said that it was her who was hugged up with Nolan anyway. Because if you see that, show me where I said that. Also, if you look at the report, it said that a female who was possibly involved with Nolan. And I specifically said that Laney at some point was involved with Nolan while she was dating and still with her boyfriend, Drew. So where did I say that she was hugged up with Nolan on the beach? I said, who is it? Who is she? Is it Laney? Get it right, because you're lying.
You know, in my opinion, this lady, her name is Royalty. That's what she calls herself. She gives good information, in my opinion, but I think that she spends far too much of her time. And I'm sure I'm not the first one that's told her this or said this, but I think that she spends far too much of her time trying to explain herself to the naysayers in the comments. Like, who cares what they think? These people are numbskulls. Okay, these are people that don't want the truth. All right. They don't care if anyone did do something to Nolan. They just don't want the people that look like them to have to get into any trouble.
Now part of Nolan Wells' family's legal team. 16 WAPT's Ross Adams has more on his role in the case.
Nearly 2 months now since his body was found on Horn Island, and we're no closer to finding out what happened to Nolan Wells. The family has added some new legal firepower with a local attorney joining the legal team.
I think it helps to have somebody local who's, from the soil. Somebody that, is kind of familiar with the terrain, with the people.
Jackson criminal defense attorney Ahmad Smith signed on 3 weeks ago. Smith will assist National Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump along with the NAACP office.
When he says someone from the soil, someone who knows Mississippi, knows the people and all of that, now, in my opinion, he's likely talking about someone who knows how they get down there in Ocean Springs, someone who knows about the corrupt network, someone who knows about the racism and hatefulness that goes on, someone knows about the continued cover-ups. Now, I'm just saying, that's what I think he's talking about, but let's continue.
Of legal counsel working on an independent investigation. Many, including Wells' parents, have raised serious questions about how law enforcement authorities on the Gulf Coast are handling the investigation.
They've spoken out publicly often enough to suggest that they have some skepticism about the way that this process is played out.
Wells' body was found washed up on the water 2 days after he and a group of friends set off on a boat from Ocean Springs to Horn Island on 4th of July. Smith says the cases are on attention from around the world. Some are worried about a cover-up.
There have been instances where black bodies have been found floating in Mississippi waters in mysterious circumstances. So people naturally harken back to some of that history.
Smith says he's...
See, I told you all that's what he was talking about, and I have not even watched this news report, okay? I just got this right before the broadcast. And so clearly, yeah, and that's exactly what makes sense, okay? I think he ran those other ones off when they saw him coming, and they were like, yeah, he's actually going to try to help them get justice. Maybe we need to pack our bags. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Please pay attention.
Spoke with Wells' parents last week during a gathering for what would have been his 19th birthday.
While they're grieving, their disposition to me seems to be one that is hopeful. They're trusting the team that they've amassed.
Smith believes an independent investigation is indispensable because he says you can't always trust the information coming from state prosecutors will be accurate. He says sometimes they may not have the knowledge or the resources. Sometimes they will simply miss something. Reporting from Jackson, Ross Adams, 16.
Now, let me just say this. When he's talking about they don't have there's a lack of trust in the Mississippi or specifically Ocean Springs, Jackson County Police Department and the DA's office. Absolutely. Because let's not forget how the Jackson County DA, Angel Myers McElrath, spoke about the protective secrecy rules of the grand jury. Now, remember how I told you that she incorrectly cited a general policy that all non-natural investigations in the county undergo grand jury review. Now, this is how secret grand jury proceedings and sealed state forensic findings can be weaponized, okay? Please pay attention, to control outcomes and insulate state findings. By sealing official autopsy and data, retaining vital organs, tissue, and before releasing the body to independent pathologists, state officials ensure that external experts cannot independently verify or even challenge initial state findings. You see, that's why they kept the lungs in the throat. Okay, so you would have to find, you can only find things as undetermined, inconclusive. You know what I'm saying? You can't find out exactly what really happened. Of course, if they're keeping vital parts of the body that you would need, to find out those details. Okay, so that all being said, but that's just really shady as far as I'm concerned. Okay. And they keep these official findings. They remain locked behind administrative secrecy, so to speak. And then framing the referral of the case to a grand jury as a rigid mandatory procedure. This then allows prosecutors to cite grand jury secrecy laws to withhold crucial details, okay, such as cause of death, preliminary rulings, or witness statements from both the public and the victim's family. Okay, because some people were saying, oh, they gave this information to the family. No, they didn't. Okay, at least not weeks ago. Now, with that all being said, the grand jury hearings are closed-door proceedings entirely driven and curated by the prosecutor's office, okay, operating without defense cross-examination or external forensic peer review, and not to mention there's no judge, automatically routing questionable or politically sensitive death investigations into secret grand juries. Let me tell you something. This definitely gives the DA an advantage. Okay, it absolutely does, because it gives prosecutorial authorities complete control over which evidence is presented, which witnesses are called, and how forensic ambiguities are framed to secure a desired outcome, such as, let's say something like a no bill determination, okay, while at the same time insulating the decision from public oversight. And see, that's what this is all about, because like I told you all, they said that they would release the autopsy report after it's been reviewed by the grand jury. I'm willing to bet money that they're never going to release it. Okay, that they're never going to release it. And also, I think that in this country, not just Mississippi, but in all states, I think they should absolutely change the grand jury procedures. Okay, because why is it that it's so one-sided? Like, that's just crazy to me. And I can't believe that no one's ever tried to do that before. Or maybe they have, and I just haven't researched it. I'll be looking into that later. But anyway, another thing is grand jury proceedings operate completely behind closed doors without defense. I think I said that already. But anyway, but by routing politically and socially sensitive death investigations into a prosecutor-controlled grand jury, the DA's office retains absolute command over which witnesses are called. And in Mississippi, state law and public record standards do not strictly forbid the release of medical examiner summaries or autopsy reports prior to grand jury review. And see, I told you all that. That's why I brought up the story of Dustin Settles, who also died, and you didn't know whether it was accidental drowning or some other nefarious things, and then they come to find out it was a homicide. So they absolutely released his preliminary autopsy report. And prosecutors routinely release preliminary autopsy reports and toxicology findings to families and the public in non-capital or ambiguous death cases without compromising grand jury integrity. Because remember, Angel Myers McAlrath was saying, "Oh, I want to protect the integrity of the investigation," as if that's why she was going to be, withholding information. Presenting professional conduct rules as a complete bar against transparent public updates conflates ethical duties, regarding pretrial publicity with the active withholding of basic factual parameters from the victim's family. Now this strategy reflects on an ongoing pattern within the Jackson County DA's office of using secret grand jury proceedings to insulate state findings from immediate public peer or forensic challenge. So with that all been said, does the DA have the experience with grand jury proceedings? Does she? I guess we'll have to find out, because clearly she did not give the right information, and I think that was all by design. But let's continue.
In Jackson, the people with power and privilege are keeping secrets and telling lies. They are doing their best to keep this racist system in place. A system that protects white privilege, white power, and white skin at the expense of Black life, at the expense of Black families, and at the expense of Black communities. We are here today to tell them time is up. This rotten system must be torn down. Nolan Wells is not the first Black life taken that they have tried to sweep under the rug, but he must be the last. Right.
All right, so picking up from the last video I just made. So as we know that Morgan, Trayson, and Wyatt met, and all of the other ones met on Horns Island to speak with the officials. Talk about Trayson real quick. I don't know why Trayson would throw all of these people under the bus. Trayson said that he made the slick comment to Nolan about Katie. Warren said the same thing too. They made a slick comment to Nolan about the girl that he was with. Again, alleged that it was Katie. Well, it wasn't Katie. And remember, I said, well, who is the freaking girl? Because it can't be Katie, because we all assumed that it was Katie. It was Laney. Now, the people that was named in the MDMR, they're all friends with Trayson and Trayson's sister, which is why I don't understand why he... So yes, that picture that Katie took with the snapshot and it says 6 something, that's Laney with her face taken out. Like, so his longtime boyfriend is Drew Johnson, who was also named in the MDMR. Let me show you again. Now, Jay said that when she did her homework, she saw that Drew Johnson was also friends with Wyatt, Warren, and Morgan. He went and looked, and Drew Johnson is the only one who is friends with Nolan. Now, I know you're like, royalty. Okay, put the pieces together. Okay, well, Drew Johnson, who is also in the MDMR report, is Laney's boyfriend. A relationship with Nolan, allegedly. We're going to say allegedly with everything. No, she was involved with Nolan at some point while she was still dating Drew at the time.
Recorded statement, and here's why this recorded statement is going to come back to bite her. Okay, it is going to come back to bite her badly, because from what we've seen and from other people's statements, it feels like she has violated and broken the oath in this recorded statement.
As District Attorney for the 19th Circuit Court District of Mississippi, I want to talk directly to the people of Jackson County. Our community is grieving the tremendous loss of Nolan Wells, who is loved and treasured by everyone. Nolan's family deserves answers, and our community deserves answers. Every death in the county, except those of natural causes and non-criminal car wrecks, are presented to your grand jury. Many people don't know that. We have handled death investigations in this manner my entire career. Nolan's case is being handled the same way, with the same care and the same commitment to the truth that we handle all death investigations. I understand the public's urgency to know what happened to Nolan, but we are not taking time for time's sake. We are taking the time required to complete the work this investigation demands. Since Nolan was reported missing, local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies have worked around the clock investigating what happened to him. Every piece of evidence must be examined. Every credible lead must be followed to its conclusion. Every witness interview must be analyzed in context of all other evidence. The pressure for answers does not change what the work requires. Our responsibility to Nolan and our community is to complete this investigation thoroughly, carefully, without compromise, supported by the evidence and worthy of the confidence of the people we serve. I also understand that many people have questions about why more information has not been released publicly. In Mississippi, the rules of professional conduct restrict the information a prosecutor can release during an investigation.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So that's the reason why Nolan Wells' family couldn't find out the autopsy results. That's why y'all refuse to tell the family, the mama, what the result of the autopsy is. Okay, understood, right? But tell me why, if the DA, if the prosecutors are not allowed to release any information, if investigators are not allowed to release any information, if the family couldn't even hear about the autopsy because it's your law, then how come Chris Cuomo and one of the attorneys for one of the boys, how come they knew the autopsy results? How come they knew all the information in regards to the autopsy? So this investigation is secret, that only certain people have access to. Then how come the Bart's attorney have access to this and Chris Cuomo got access to this, but the family of Nolan Wells don't got access to it? So what happened to secrecy? It looks like they know a lot, but that's because of...
All right, now I'm on page 14 of this stupid letter they sent Al Sharpton, and I don't know why I'm shocked.
Now, I want you all to pay attention to this lady. First of all, let me just go back to what Flacco said. So, in my opinion, because that is the law down there in Mississippi, because I did look it up, in fact. But here's the thing. I think that's the law because they know all the shady stuff that they do to black people down there. I think it's the law because they already know that when a black person goes out for people who don't look like them and they turn up dead or they're found in a lake or somewhere, they want it to appear as an accidental drowning. And so therefore, they don't want us asking all these questions and they don't want all the information coming out. So they want to be able, at their own discretion to release whatever they want and to keep whatever they want. That's why they do that, in my opinion, because he had a very good point. Why in the hell did Chris Cuomo know about the toxicology reports? Who leaked it to him? Who's leaking information to Nancy Grace? I have several questions. How are these attorneys on the boys' side, or the young men's side, how are they being privy to information? Okay, that's supposed to be kept under wraps until the grand jury reviews. Okay, make that make sense. Now, as I was saying, this lady here, she's talking about this picture. Now, I blew this picture up because I'm going to show it to you all so you can see what she's talking about. But this is a picture that was in the intent to sue letter sent to Mr. Reverend Al Sharpton from the young men's attorney, Edward Andrew Polsick. And she says that this picture has been altered. Now, I'll let you all be the judge.
But yet here again, we can talk about this picture that Ed the lawyer posted on his Facebook page that I dissected like a monster. Because it's pitiful. I still can't believe it. Look, Nolan is this big, huge Nolan, because that's the only, I guess, photo they had to crop into this fake picture. Look how much younger the boys are in the photo than Nolan. Look at the feet. We've got.
Now she's saying that they literally cropped Nolan into this picture. Now I don't know if they did or not, but it is interesting that he's standing in a completely different direction than they are. But let's continue.
Everybody got to wear Wyatt's flip-flops. Everybody got them on this day in the crop. And these two fellas right here got to crop on these tennis shoes, the fake tennis shoes. And the crop job's so pitiful that, look, homeboy's stepping on his foot, he's stepping on his foot, and he's stepping on his foot.
I love the way this lady talks. Her southern accent is sending me, but let's continue.
These guys are over here standing on the curb halfway off, next to a car that's missing half of its roof, with a street light that's behind him somehow magically buzzing and coming around and slapping him in the face. with a black car that they're trying to convince me it was the last one on the edge of a parking lot in the sidewalk, but yet we see right here a white car with taillights in a reflection of this car. This old car, they're in a pit. They want to throw white walls on it. How about far back in time they took it? Come on. The white right here on the legs. All of the guys, look at the white crop out around these guys. And look at the joke of the arms. What, you tied his arm back behind his back, somehow it reached around and went on his shoulder? No. Look, I mean, it's all so fucking ridiculous. I can't even hardly compose myself, y'all. I mean, honest to God. It's pitiful. These are supposed to be big dog lawyers? Well, I ain't no lawyer. Nope, sure ain't. I ain't making no big bucks, but I can blow the shit out of this all day long. All day long. I'll call you out on this bullshit. With bow-legged Nolan's leg and big old fat ankle. I mean, what have y'all got going?
Yeah, look at Warren's legs. Why does one of his legs look that much bigger than the other? But also, they look like a couple of them look like kids on here almost.
Get real. How do they even have a conscience to pass this off? Jesus Christ, somebody needs to lose their job. They're trying to fake a photo and they're failing.
She said they're trying to fake a photo and they're failing. Okay, now let's go to this. Let me see here. Let's go to a bigger version of the picture. Yeah, they are standing on each other's feet. That is so hilarious. I did not notice that. Mind you, of course, in fact, when I was reading the paperwork, I wasn't really looking at the picture. So, as hard as she was, clearly. Okay, I was more so focused on reading that whole thing that read like a script or the first few pages of a true crime novel, if you ask me. Okay, so here's a larger picture. Look at the hands on his shoulder. Okay, I guess that's Warren's hand and that's his hand. It just looks weird, but hold on. Okay, see how his foot, this looks like he's standing on his foot. He's standing on his foot. Okay, absolutely hilarious. Why would they crop shoes on them, though? And she also said how they look like little boys almost, and they do. I mean, look at Warren and Morgan. I don't know if they edited that photo or not, but it clearly looks like they did. It's just why? But why though? I guess the lawyer was trying to make it seem like, oh, we just loved Nolan. He was always with us. Maybe they didn't have a legit picture for him to put on there. I don't know. This is all crazy. Greta said failing miserably. Okay. Barbara said, yes, that picture is big time fake. I mean, she went all in, did she not? But let's continue because that was hilarious.
I don't care what nobody say. Now, I don't know if she a man or not. I don't think she is.
Let me just tell you all this, beloveds. Okay, this is Rage Batum, Tap Dancing Tatum trying to go in on the lovely Michelle Obama, okay, and saying that his wife is finer. Here's the thing. Why would he just bring this up randomly? Why is he even talking about this? And what in the world makes him think anyone is going to agree with him, okay, besides someone who's clearly blind? The bottom line is this is a distraction too, in my opinion. I think Tatum brought this out there knowing that it's going to go viral. I mean, think about it. You say something negative about Michelle Obama or President Barack Obama, of course you're going to get backlash, and the story probably will go viral, especially if someone as known as he is, okay, says it. And especially someone who loves Trump and hates people who look like him. So I think that he did this all on purpose to try to get the focus off of the attention onto the young men that he's been caping for and lying for. Yes, lying. And I think that's what this is all about. But let's continue.
But I will say, y'all quit lying to this woman, act like she cute, though. Michelle Obama is not a good-looking woman. And it's okay to not be good looking. Everybody can't be fine. Like my wife. Everybody can't be fine like that. Man. If you're a good person, then be a good person. You can't not be fine and be mean.
Sam here, and this message is for Officer Race Batum Tatum. He is big mad because people are going in on his wife. Why? Because he chose to call Michelle Obama ugly, which is insane. She's beautiful, she's highly educated, and she's our former First Lady and the wife of Barack Obama. So put some respect on her name. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, keep black women's name out of your mouth. Put some respect on the most highly, most beautiful, educated women on this planet, black women. Thank you. Now that we put that to the side. Now, do you want to go wife for wife? Because I see you talking, I got a white wife. I got a white wife too. I got a white wife too. Do you want to have a white wife white off? Because I will do it. Challenge me. My wife is a 10. Anybody in the comments who knows me has seen my wife. Every time people see my wife, they're like, Sam, how did you get her? Like, what? Like, am I that ugly? That's besides the point. I'm digressulating. The point is, maybe some of these other people might not have a wife off with you, but I will, Officer Race Batum Tatum. My wife is a lot hotter than your wife. She's a real one. She's got that fat batch. She's got the tightness. She's got the perfect everything. She's a 10. Your wife is like a Chicago 5, okay, at best. You just married a white woman and think you got one of the best ones, and you didn't. I'm sorry to Officer Race Batum Tatum's wife. I don't mean to bring you into this, but he brought you into this game. Keep Michelle Obama's name out of your mouth. And if you want to have a white off, hit me up in the comments. Secret Service Sam Out Samson for president of the world.
Now, that was funny. Ah, that was hilarious. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere because he knows he sounds like a whole arse fool trying to compare his wife with her fugly self to Michelle Obama. Is he serious? Sir, why would you even try it? Okay, why would you even go there? Makes absolutely no sense. But let me continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so now, and then also, what makes him think that Michelle Obama is mean? Now he's calling her mean and ugly. See, here's the thing. That's why I'm telling you, I absolutely think that he did all this on purpose just to get the conversation focused on something else other than those little minions of his. Okay, with the scripted performative interviews. Now, that all being said, let's go to this clip. I want to go back to a moment in time to this clip that I just showed you all the other day. On Rage Batum Tatum's show where he had Trayson on there, because this is what I was thinking about. I was thinking about how Trayson said when they got there, the people made them leave. Okay, let's go to that. Like, so everyone, please like and share. He said that they saw the officials and they made them leave and told them, basically, we got it. But I'm going to show you why they told them to leave in just a minute. Okay, and I was already thinking this. Matter of fact, me and Rupert talked about this the other day offline. But yeah, and so now they actually have someone basically exposing it, one of them. Okay, let's get into it. Like, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
I wasn't, no, clear that up. No, I was not on the boat with them. Yes, I was a part of the group that was supposed to go out. So the only reason why I did not go on the boat is I was offered, I got begged to go, but my uncle, we also took 12 people out on our boat, not including us two, so 14. And my uncle knows the passengers wouldn't have helped, genuinely wouldn't have helped with anything. With that many people on a boat, you need a little bit of help. So my uncle was like, hey, can you just ride out with me and you can go do your thing throughout the day on the island? I don't care. I don't need you. I just need help to get out there and then pick everything up. Because I know all these people are going to be drunk and they're not going to want to do the extras that nobody sees about going out on the boat, right? And so I told Wyatt that, and oops, my bad. But I told him, good. I told him that.
Notice how he slipped and said Wyatt's name. Notice how he slipped and said Wyatt's name, and Tatum, he said, oops, my bad. And then Tatum said, no, you're good. Ha! So there was a discussion then, huh? There had to have been a discussion prior to him sitting on that couch for them to say, or for Tatum to tell him, don't say Wyatt's name. They must have, and that's how you know this is all scripted BS, okay? They've clearly had a whole discussion about what you're going to say, what you're not going to say, who you'll mention and who you won't, and all of that, and given the questions beforehand. But let's continue.
And I told him everything, which was go to plan. We were leaving a little bit earlier than them. I was gonna try to have a spot saved out. And Nolan calls me at 11 o'clock. I missed his phone call. Called me twice. I missed both of them. I saw Wyatt and Nolan on the boat. They pulled right in front of our boat, and they were screaming. I turned my head and I was like, "Yo, there's a spot over there," where they end up anchoring out. I helped them set their stern anchor. From the time they showed up until now, going back to it, 20 minutes before they left, I was with them. That's who I was with. I spent all day with them, minus the morning time before they got out there. But from the time they got out there to the time they went back in, I was with them. Those are my friends, man. Those are my guys.
Yeah, I want to get a few more details.
I'm sorry about that.
I know that. Yeah, go ahead. I know that you were all over the news because there was a perceived fight. People, this is the thing that gets me, and I want to clarify this. When I saw the video that they put out on the internet claiming that Nolan was saying, "Give me my effing phone back," Nolan's coach came out and said immediately he knew it wasn't Nolan's voice. And obviously it wasn't Nolan's voice because you were the one that was
me yelling,
in there yelling. You got into an altercation with somebody. What happened after that? Like, put me in your place where the.
But notice how when we all were thinking that was Nolan that said, "Give me back my effing phone," I still think that was Nolan that said that because he never says or explains even why he would have been yelling at anyone to give him back his effing phone. If you got into a fight about your girlfriend and and about a beer or something that he told her he wanted a beer or whatever. So what would that have to do with him asking for his effing phone, and who took his phone?
Fight is over. Whatever happened. Nolan is somewhere, you're somewhere, you're hanging out. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan before you left Horn Island?
So after the fight, I didn't stay on Horn Island much longer. So I was really upset. So with you hearing me yelling, my uncle had told me to get on the boat and wouldn't let me back off the boat. Obviously, I was really mad and I wanted to fight, wanted to get off. What wasn't smart, man. And so I was on the boat, I'm yelling, and shortly after that, I left the island. I left probably 30 to 45 minutes after I got into a fight. We started to pack up and left because I was so upset. As Javon mentions, that they were ready to get me back to land because I was really mad. I was genuinely really mad. But the last time I saw Nolan, I was walking to the boat. This was before the fight. It's me and my old lady. We had just got out of a group of people. Nolan was walking towards Wyatt's boat. I was walking in the opposite direction towards my boat. And I dabbed Nolan up. I made a slick comment about something, actually about the girl that he was with. I made a slick comment to him.
Now, here's the thing. Gennaro said he got his ace whooped. Okay, likely. But here's the thing. Now, the fact that he, Trayston, and Warren both claimed that they made jokes to Nolan about the girl he was with, maybe, I'm just wondering if that was Laney. And maybe the joke was because Laney has a boyfriend by the name of Drew. Now, I don't know. I'm just wondering. But let's continue because that's not really so important.
I was joking around, and I kept going. And not even 10 minutes after that is when I got into a fight. Last thing I told Nolan was, "All right, buddy, I love you. See you later."
That's another lie. That is another lie. Now, you know damn well you didn't tell Nolan that, okay? Now, you just cracked a joke with him, so you said. You're walking to your boat. He's walking towards Wyatt's boat. And then, "Hey, I love you, man. Bye." What would make him say that on the island on 4th of July? Now, is that something that he commonly told Nolan every time he left? Okay, now hold on. Maybe he did tell Nolan that because remember, When we first saw the interview, I said Trayson seemed to me like he kind of had a crush on Nolan. Y'all remember that? When Tatum asked him if there's anything he wanted to say, I believe that's when he said something about anything that wasn't true or something. And he said something about that Nolan was, one of his friends was dating Nolan or something. I'm like, where is this all coming from? Do y'all remember that? Did Trayson fight in those clothes? Mallory wants to know. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not Mallory who said that. Hold on. I am so done. The Crazy Beach area said Queen busting liars left and right. Okay, honey, I just pay attention to what they say. Okay, I'm technology said, did Trayson fight in those clothes? I mean, it looks like he was rolling around in dirt at the very least, beloved. Now, Mallory says when Javon said when he came back, the boats were gone and Nolan was gone. That tells the story right there. Exactly. Exactly, beloved. See, that's what I was telling y'all the other day because I said, now think about this. They're saying that they left and Nolan wanted to stay behind with Katie. Okay, well, if that's the case, I said, how come Javon didn't see him and Javon was still there? Because he said the boats and Nolan were gone. So how come Javon wouldn't have seen Nolan if Nolan was on that island? He definitely would have seen him if he stayed behind. Also, the coach didn't see him any further since the time he spoke to him earlier in the day. And then when they come out and say now that, oh, 2 people say they saw him after 6. So only 2 people out of the hundreds of people that were on Horn Island that day. So only 2 of those people said they saw him. Yeah, it's all BS in my opinion. Irma says the 2 that are barefooted have the same legs. On that picture, yes. I went back and looked at it after I saw your comment. They absolutely did. That's just all crazy. Clearly photoshopped or whatever. Okay, AI picture. Okay, so thank you, beloved, for your insight into the topic and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings.
I'm glad I said it. I had been under the influence a little bit, and that's probably why I did say it at the time, just, getting all lovey-dovey, but...
Yeah, that's why I said he sounded like he had a crush on Nolan. Talking about getting lovey-dovey. Who's getting lovey-dovey with the whole man? Unless you're zesty, of course. And so he said getting lovey-dovey, and then later he said something about that it was not true that his homeboy or somebody, one of his friends, had something going with Nolan. And I'm like, why would you even say that? Where's this even going?
I'm at peace I said it. I'm glad I said it. That was my last encounter with Nolan. Just telling him I love him.
Did you have any, so you leave the island.
Y'all hear this? Y'all hear this? Drip says, I'm willing to bet Leanne and, hold on, this chat's moving fast. Hold on. Let me get a couple of these comments. Dang it, where'd that comment go? I literally just saw it. Hold on, beloveds. I'm trying to find this comment. Why don't I see it? Sonny said gay taunting. Like what's the name said the other day? You need to sit down somewhere, okay? Dang it, I can't find the comment I was looking for, but let's continue.
Did you have any encounters or association with these phones, with the keys? Did you have any connection to any of that?
I did not. So what I know, I got my first phone call from Warren at about 9:20. I didn't answer it. I was asleep. I'd been on the boat all day. I didn't feel like going to party anymore. I went to bed. So I got my first phone call about 9:20. And I didn't wake up again until a little after 11 o'clock. And that was to my brother coming in the room being like, hey, Warren's trying to get a hold of you. You need to answer the phone. They're looking for Nolan. And I'm half awake and I pick up the phone. And by this time, nobody had came to the house to grab anything. And Warren gets on the phone and he's just like, hey, man, he was like, hey, have you talked to Nolan? Anything else? I was like, no, I haven't talked to him, man. He was with that girl last time I knew. And he was like, okay. He was like, man, we can't get a hold of him. We don't know where he's at. I was like, man, it's Nolan. He's probably just out somewhere with that girl. Like, get a hold of the girl. You'll probably find.
Hold on. Now you know what I'm noticing. I want you all to pay attention. Now what I'm noticing is that maybe Rach Tatum told him to say this, or I don't know, but he's not saying Katie's name, right? I want y'all to pay attention because he's not saying Katie's name. Now, we know that in that initial Coast Guard report, they said that it was an unknown woman. And then later they talked about Laney Naquin. But here's the thing. Now, it has also been reported by some TikTokers that Tristan was friends with Katie on like social media. So if he's friends with her on social media and friends with her in real life, as has also been alleged, why would he be calling her that girl? Why wouldn't he say her name? Now, did Tatum tell them not to say the names of people who aren't on the show or who are not being interviewed? Maybe. But that just sounds so weird that he said that girl. And then Warren said too, that girl Katie, or that Katie girl, like a little kid. I haven't heard anybody say that since second grade. But I'm just wondering why he was just like trying to avoid saying certain names. But let's continue.
Nolan, it's no big deal. And he was like, all right. He was like, but we're starting to freak out. We're getting on the phone with Coast Guard. I was like, okay. And at that time, he had already talked to his mom, Nolan's mom. And he was getting on the phone with the Coast Guard. And I'd called, I need to be specific about this. I did not call Warren's phone. I called another one of our buddies' phone, and it was on speakerphone. They were all together. I was talking on my other buddy's phone, talking to Warren. He was dialing Coast Guard because he hung up the phone and was like, hey, this is them, bye, and hung up the phone. And that was the last time I talked to him until the next morning when we all decided, well, when I woke up about 7 o'clock that morning, we had all decided that we were going to go out on the boat and go look for Nolan. Wyatt had already had his boat still in the water. We took that boat out. It was
what day are we talking?
That's Sunday morning.
Sunday morning on the 5th. The 5th?
So it was Saturday the 4th was the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. The 5th.
Now, you all pay attention because this is the part. Wayno said, Queen, they're on a second grade level. Okay, clearly he is, beloved. I agree. But listen, this is the reason I played this video clip, because I wanted you all to hear again when he says that they went out there, but the people made them leave and told them they got it, basically.
5th was Sunday. We were on the water from 9:45 to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime. Mm. While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy, and he told us to get off the water and said that they kind of had the island and the water under control. That's the professionals, man.
Yeah.
They told us to get on social media and find out any information we can. And by that time, we had already talked to a good amount of people out there. So it just made sense.
Yeah, it did make sense, but that's not what y'all did, because everybody shut down their social media. So they're not going to now come out the 11th hour and try to convince us that y'all got on social media trying to search and find anyone who may have heard or seen from Nolan. Please sit down somewhere, sir. We don't believe you. Okay, or at least I don't. But here's the thing. So as I was saying, when I was talking to Rupert the other day, we were talking about this clip specifically because Rupert said that when they told them to leave, they wanted them to leave because they were suspects. Now, maybe the police hadn't officially named them as suspects, which they still haven't, but nonetheless, there were people who had been out there with Nolan. And so maybe the person who told them that, the official, maybe he felt like they came out there to try to, retrieve anything that they may have left, to try to do a once over, make sure there's nothing left behind or whatever. You know how they say killers revisit the crime scene? Okay, so maybe that's why he told them to leave. Okay, but that's what we were talking about. Okay, but so now then I saw this clip on last night. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on now. Jay Gray says, Queen, did you see that pic that came out 2 days ago showing Nolan getting on Bart's boat? Either a large group of people, mainly women, getting ready to leave for Horn Island. Yes, I did see that, beloved. I absolutely did. I showed that on here, as a matter of fact.
Talk about this first before I talk about Laney. So remember when I told you guys last week that Trayson said in his interview with Tatum that he had went back out there to Horns Island
to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime. While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy.
So that probably explains who actually drove the boat, the Palm Beach, back. And it also proves that Trayson was lying, because Trayson did not go out there with his uncle. Trayson did not get on the boat and leave with his uncle, because Trayson was still on the boat with Wyatt, Morgan, and we're going to assume at this point, allegedly, Nolan, along with Warren and his crew or whoever when they went out there. Because remember, Warren also said that he, his mother, his father, and a few other people went back out there to Horns Island. I told you guys there was impossible way that they did not meet and were not talking to the MDMR, because
me, Wyatt, and Trayson got in the boat. We got in the Palm Beach that morning, the morning after, and to the islands, and we were met by a DMR. There was 7 DMR boats already out there, DMR and park rangers. We talked to them. We gave them all of our information. They personally asked if any of us were on the boat with him that day. We told him yes.
Right? He said they were out there with Nolan that day. He confirmed it to the official.
They just said, all right, well, I mean, we got the area scoped out. And then after that, we just went up to the beach. I think we met up with y'all.
Now, I know you're wondering, like, how is all of this making sense and tying in Laney? Well, I'm going to tell you this. They are Morgan, Wyatt, and Trayson are the ones who gave the official report to the MDMR and named Laney and this other girl and a few other guys in this report. Hold on. There's a second part. Okay, I got to talk about this first before I talk about Laney. So remember when I told you guys last week that Trayson said in his interview with Tatum that he had went back out there to Horns Island
to 11:50, 12 o'clock era, about lunchtime. While we were on the water, we talked to a rescue guy.
So that probably explains who actually drove the boat, the Palm Beach, back. And it also proves that Trayson was lying, because Trayson did not go out there with his uncle. Trayson did not get on the boat and leave with his uncle, because Trayson was still on the boat with Wyatt, Morgan, and we're going to assume at this point, allegedly, Nolan, along with Warren and his crew or whoever when they went out there. Because remember, Warren also said that he, his mother, his father, and a few other people went back out there to Horns Island. I told you guys there was impossible way that they did not meet and were not talking to the MDMR, because
me, Wyatt, and Trayson got in the boat. We got in the Palm Beach that morning, the morning after, and to the islands, and we were met by a DMR. There was 7 DMR boats already out there, DMR and park rangers. We talked to them. We gave them all of our information. They personally asked if any of us were on the boat with him that day. We told him yes.
Right? He said they were out there with Nolan that day. He confirmed it to the official.
They just said, all right, well, I mean, we got the area scoped out. And then after that, we just went up to the beach. I think we met up with y'all.
Now, I know you're wondering, like, how is all of this making sense and tying in Laney? Well, I'm going to tell you this.
Before she goes into Laney, let's talk about what he just said. They're caught in another lie. And who's caught in the lie this time? Well, the lawyer. Because didn't the lawyer say, and I'm talking about Edward Paulson, didn't he say that his clients in that letter to Al Sharpton, didn't he say that they never were alone with Nolan that day? Didn't he say that they were never on the boat with Nolan? Didn't he say that? I'm pretty sure he said that. But also, the reason I wanted you all to hear this clip is because when Trayson said during the interview that they went out there and they were told to leave, well, he just gives us the reason that they were told to leave. He says that they asked them, were any of you on the boat with Nolan when he was out there? And they said yes. And at that point, they said, well, we got this pretty much spotted. We got this pretty much covered. Y'all can leave. They didn't want their asses out there because if y'all were out there with him and y'all were on the boat with him or whatever, y'all might be the ones that did something to him. So we don't need y'all out here helping us to look. Okay? For all we know, y'all could be the whole killers. And that's why they made them leave. That's why they made them leave, in my opinion. But also, he just contradicted what the lawyer said. I'm going to go find that, pull up that letter from Al Sharpton, or that they sent to Al Sharpton, and sift through that. Okay? Because I'm pretty sure the lawyer lied and said, my clients, these three innocent boys, Warren, Jax, and Morgan, were never on the boat with Nolan. That's not what your client said, buddy.
Are Morgan, Wyatt, and Trayson are the ones who gave the official report to the MDMR and named Laney and this other girl and a few other guys in this report. Hold on, there's a second part. Okay, I got to talk about this first before I talk about Laney.
Okay, so I find that all very interesting. Okay. I find that all very interesting. The lies are just all coming out. Hold on for a second. Now, while I'm looking for this, let me go to this report. Let me go to this report real quick where this black man, another black man found dead in Greenville, Mississippi. Now, he wasn't found hung, but what he was found, how he was found is just as nefarious. Okay, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. And then that'll give me time to look for that letter real quick. Okay, hold on. That's not what I'm looking for. Hold on, beloveds. We're talking about violent crime statistics. Hold on. Okay, so here it is. This is an article. Okay, well, I thought I had a video that I was going to play while I look for that, but hold on just a second. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and read this, and then I'll try to find that after the fact. Now, this man by the name of Robert Elliott was found dead in Greenville. Greenville police announced a body that was wrapped in a tarp and burned has been identified. Investigators said the body of Robert Elliott of Greenville was located near the 1500 block of Thornton Street on July 21st of 2026. Now, why are we just finding this all out like a month later? Please make that make sense, because this was just reported yesterday. Okay, yesterday. Now, they said a passerby reported seeing Elliott's body alongside the roadway. The investigation is ongoing. Detectives are processing available evidence, pursuing investigative leads, and working to determine the circumstances surrounding Elliott's death. And then they asked for anyone with information to call the Greenville Police Department at 662-378-1515 or submit an anonymous tip through Crime Stoppers. Now, what's really going on here? Let me just pull his picture up. Body burned and found in a tarp. That's him there. Condolences to the family. May he rest in peace. What the hell's going on in Mississippi? It's like they're purging the black people from Mississippi. I want y'all to pay attention. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Now, let me see if I can find that letter. I have it somewhere. Hold on. Hmm. And also, here's the thing. Instead of focusing on all these distractions and red herrings that are being put out here, we need to stay focused on the timeline. Okay, because they literally keep trying to change it. That's what they keep doing because now they're saying that the boys left the island later. Okay, later than they initially said. And if so, why? Why the lies? Okay, I just think people are trying to change the timeline, specifically the attorney, in my opinion. Okay, here it is. Hold on, beloveds. Damn it, that's not it. I'm looking for the whole letter. This is just a portion of it. Hold on, just give me another second. Let me see here. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, here it is. Is this it? Okay, I have it, but hold on. I need to figure out exactly where this is. Evidence by your multiple references to Nolan's three friends, these three young men, the three guys, and to the fact they are white. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna have to find it later because I really don't want to have to go through this whole. I don't remember where it was in the letter specifically, and I don't want to have to go through this whole thing again. But I'm pretty sure. Put a one in the chat if you all think that he absolutely said. Put a one in the chat only if you think that the attorney said that they were never on the boat with Nolan, because I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. But I do want to confirm it, and I'll try to do that later. Do you all remember that Crazy Beach area says yes? Okay, so some of you are saying yes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. So, like I said, caught in another lie. And if nobody did anything nefarious and there's nothing to see here, folks, well, question is, why are there so many lies and inconsistencies? Okay, I just have several questions. And I really think that letter was a whole distraction because, for one, like I told you all, that lawyer doesn't have a leg to stand on. There was absolutely no defamation, libel, or slander that came out of Al Sharpton's mouth. And that's even in, there's nothing even included in his letter to even suggest it. All that letter really proved is that he was asking several questions, okay, which we all have several questions, and even more so at this point. So, anyway, I'm going to go back through there because I just want to prove my point. So the lawyers out here telling lies, the boys are telling lies, things are not adding up, and it's just the math ain't mathing. And you know, we still don't know if Jerry Atkerson used one of those spoofing devices, okay, to change the data on the boat. We to change the coordinates. We don't know if he did any of that. But he just may have, because I find it interesting that they didn't get the information. Hold on. That they didn't report some of the information. Okay. Literary Pharaoh said the GPS coordinates are unbiased. Okay. Mel says Nolan's whole case is nothing but a big lie. These evil people are hiding the truth and justice will prevail. Well, I certainly hope so. Okay. August 8 said it's not illegal to ask questions. Exactly. So why do they get so upset when people do? That's the question. Well, you know, people tend to get upset when people ask questions when, guess what? They're lying. When people are telling lies, that's when they get upset. Nobody gets more angry than a person who gets caught lying. Okay? Queen, when you get the time, check the AI brain record 30-minute gap. Okay, you want to send me that to my email at QueenAhmadiyyahShakur@gmail.com, beloved. Okay, so anyway, listen, I'm about to be out of here. I think we still have more questions than answers, and there's a whole lot of BS going on. Truth's not being told. Now, the investigation, and I'm not talking about the official investigation or even the independent investigation. I'm talking about the social media investigation now seems to have turned its focus on Laney. Okay, and I don't know if that's important or not, because it really doesn't seem like it to me, unless they think that Laney's boyfriend Drew did something to Nolan, which I just don't think. Okay, I don't think so. I think we've already been discussing people that potentially could have done something to Nolan. Okay, that's what I think. Anyway, with that all being said, I'm out of here. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace. That's right. August 8 says, trust the audio. Absolutely. Oh, and speaking of the audio, I'm glad you brought that up, because now they're trying to act like it was all fake. But here's the thing. We're going to know whether or not it was fake or altered or any of that, or AI, whatever they want to call it. We're going to know. And you know why we're going to know? Because Mrs. Christine Wansley has ordered, okay, she sent subpoenas for all of the information pertinent and relevant to that call, as well as a myriad of other things, of course, but also to that call specifically. Okay, so that's going to come from them. And of course, we're going to be able to know if anyone did anything nefarious. And also, let's not forget that about 3 weeks ago, somewhere around July the 27th, I want to say, but somewhere around that time frame, almost a month ago, they said that the Wansley's team had hired an audio forensic expert. Okay, so they've already got somebody on deck. All right, so we're going to get to the truth of the matter as it pertains to that much, at least. Okay, so anyway, listen, I love you all to life. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, and I may be back later. So keep your notifications on, and until next time, beloveds, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
Oh, yeah, I'm on your ass. I just got to know. What up with that audio? We not gonna stop. No, no, we won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Yeah. Know that we on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. The real queen of receipts. Dropping, 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 dropping. Oh, and we got your back. Somebody gon' talk. Hell yeah, the ancestors walking. I'm so serious. Queen on the case. Oh, they asking full-blown panic now. They trying to shut us down, close our mouth, but I just won't. Damn that Nolan. Well, we not gonna stop. No, no. I'm hugging your parents in spirit, yeah. Nolan. We on this case and we demand answers. Oh, they expose. What happened to you? We tired. You don't get the all my kids ain't cover it up. I said, show yourself, yeah. Steady talking about they was his friends. I said, show up and talk if that's the case. Hold on, Nolan, it's coming to the light. Yeah, the queen on the case. Hold on, Nolan, we won't give up. Rest in his peace. We all love you. No, 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 no. Nolan. Well, we not gonna stop. No. We won't go. I'm hugging your parents in spirit. Nolan, we on this case. Oh, they exposed the real queen of receipts. Drop it. We got your back. Somebody gon' talk. Hell yeah, ancestors walking. Rest in his peace.